So will I be able to hear myself talk something?
Yeah, you should do speakers.
As long as you hear the music right now, you're fine. Because once the mics aren't turned on just yet, so if you can hear music right now, be fine. So once we go live, you'll be able to hear yourself. Okay.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to KUAW Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom 98.5 with your man, Be Wise, in the Sports Talk Show.
You can tell how much I use something.
It'll be posted on our page. You guys send us a notification.
Good afternoon.
Oh,
you are listening to Speak On It with Serenity Speaks and Crew. This is the first show, definitely a different show. First show of its kind. We're going to mix therapy, self-care tips, hip-hop, and interviews all in one show, and sports as well. So I want to make sure that we start off. I want to start off with some positivity, and I'm going to start out with a quote. I have this book called A Little Book of Confidence, and it has different quotes just talking about inspiration and confidence. And we'll start off with this one by Pablo Picasso, as we know who that is. He says, "When I was a child, my mother said to me, if you become a soldier, you'll be a general. If you become a monk, you'll be the Pope. Instead, I became a painter and wound up Picasso." So, that is from Louis Picasso, the painter, famous, infamous, everyone knows. And we are going to go around the room with introductions. We have on mic 2, we have, she's been holding down the Pros and Verbs platform for 2 years now.
2.5 years we are involved in this thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I just want to say I appreciate you, Angela, for holding it down.
Of course.
When I approached you about doing a show, she was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just recanting that story earlier this morning. And it was like, yeah, pretty much like, so for those who don't know who I am Miss Angela Rue. I do host the third Saturday noon show on KUAW, known as Rue on the Radio, with my right-hand woman's Serenity. And so when she approached me about doing this, I said, yeah, of course I'm going to help out. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind being the Pippin to your Jordan.
Well, we switch up.
We switch off. It's like, it's, we actually we're like the Splash Sisters. Like, you could be Clay, I could be Steph,
Great metaphor.
We can all go off. We go off at any given moment. That's what we do. So, yeah. So I do poetry around the city. I'm an author. I also do community theater. Obviously the radio thing. So I'm a jack of all trades sometimes, but definitely down to help with this situation here. I'm so happy that you're doing this show, and I look forward to seeing where it all goes and the winding world we gonna weave and all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm happy to be back on the radio regularly.
Yes. Yes. One time for Serenity, we could drop one of Clues bombs. I wish we could. But we'll do that.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna go this direction to Christina, one of our co-hosts, Christina Brown. Why don't you spit your credentials for the people, though?
Run it down, girl. Run it down, that black girl magic.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all be gassing me up.
We have to.
That's our goal.
We have to.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I'm Christina Brown. I am a therapist. I work for a nonprofit, and I do some administrative work there and oversee programming. I do see clients. So I see adults, children, adolescents, teens, specialize in working with people in trauma And I do a lot of other things too. I actually teach as an adjunct instructor at Penn Valley. I really love educating. I love talking to people. I like spreading knowledge and connecting. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I'm a mama. And I think that's about it. That's all I have time for, really. So I'm happy to be here.
Cool.
Yep, happy to be here.
Cool.
And we have our male energy of the room.
Oh, no pressure there, right?
No pressure. You gotta
No
represent
pressure there.
You gotta represent for your gender.
Got to represent for the gender. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is BWIZE, spelled with a Z, not with an S. And I actually am a jack of all trades, pretty much. You know, there's a reason why my last name is Wise, because I know a little bit about everything, and sports is actually one of my fortes as a ex-college athlete. So, aside from just spitting knowledge, I'm an MC and have a project coming out, and I'm just glad to be here and ready to get this thing started.
Okay, that's what's up. And we have our guest for the hour, Brianna.
Hey,
yes, because I am a name butcher, and I know. So that's all I was trying to make sure. Park Shaw, she is running for 30 district, well, the District 30, I'm sorry, for the Missouri House of Representatives. When I was approached about interviewing her, I was like, okay, most definitely. Especially with our platform, I want to concentrate on people who are trying to make change in the community. So we're going to go into an interview with her. And let me pull up your bio. Tell us briefly about your decision to run for office.
Well, hello, everyone. As she said, my name is Raina Park Shaw, and I'm a candidate for the House of Representatives for the 30th District. And, when people ask me why I decided to run, my answer is pretty simple. Ultimately, I've had enough. I've just had enough of out-of-touch politicians making decisions about our community that impact our community in a negative way. And ultimately, what really inspired me was I have twin nieces that live in Florida and have friends at the Parkman in Parkland. And ultimately watching those students in Florida really start a movement across our country really inspired me, because I feel like as an adult, who is listening to the kids? They are our future. And I really felt moved to be able to make more of an impact than what I was doing in the community.
Okay. And phones, they're not working. All right.
This is why you have to write stuff down, Serenity.
I know, but
Write stuff down. I have it memorized at least.
All right, girl.
right. It's cool.
Do you have a Samsung?
No. Yes, I actually do.
Shade.
Well, that's not shade. That's Samsung. Okay. Well, we're gonna go into yes, thank you. See, she has it printed
Because
out
she's
for me.
prepared. She's information.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to read her bio here. She is an experienced leader, caring wife, parent, and champion of economic development. She has over 25 years of experience working in the healthcare industry and has served as an assistant ambassador at the Truman Medical Center, Truman Lakewood. Oh, okay. Familiar with that. Motivated by her service as a board of the Missouri Hospice and Palliative Care Board of Directors. She is passionate for the community and is serving and hopes to serve Missourians access to health care. She has a degree in psychology from Missouri State University and a master's degree in healthcare services administration from Southwest Baptist University. All right, so that's just a little bit. She has a plethora of things she does for the community as well. She volunteers for the American Heart Association, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. She also is a member of St. James United Methodist Church and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. All right.
All right.
And I noticed with your platform, you were also a business woman. Let's talk a little bit about your business.
Yes. I am an Avon lady, and not the typical Avon lady. Definitely, I knocked on doors, and I joked that was actually an excellent training for me to run for office, because there's an extensive amount of knocking on doors and talking to voters that's required, or that should be required, I say. But as an Avon lady, I knocked on so many doors and met so many people and gained so many customers that I actually opened 2 Avon stores here in the Kansas City area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. One was actually
like brick and mortar.
brick and mortar, two
Whoa,
brick and mortar
right.
stores.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
And one was actually located in the district, and then the other was located at Zona Rosa Shopping Center.
That's
Hmm.
what's up.
Wow.
That's
I was-
great.
I came in shutting stuff down.
Right.
Now, explain the district boundaries to those who are not familiar with District 30 House of Representatives. Of course, you know, some people don't know that area.
Yes. Well, Serenity, the 30th district is located in Eastern Jackson County, and it's runs from about 39th Street, where Independence Shopping Center is,
Mhm.
back to about Coburn Road and Lee Summit. And then from the west side, it's 50 Highway or 350 Highway, where Unity Village area is,
Mhm.
over to Lake Jacomo. So it includes Kansas City, Lee Summit, Blue Springs, and Independence, portions of each one of those cities.
Oh, okay.
That's a large
Yeah,
area.
it is a large area.
It's
It
a very
is.
large area.
It is a very large area.
What would you say are some good leadership qualities? Like, what are some qualities that you feel you have to go into leadership?
Mhm. I think some of the top qualities or characteristics that I would define as a good political leader would be honesty and integrity and accountability. Having a strong character that includes conscience, and ultimately being someone really who will vote the voice of the people. I think
Okay.
one of my frustrations has been that we elect people in office to represent us, and they don't represent our community. They end up representing big interest. And so the quality that I intend to bring is that accountability and integrity, and to truly be a voice for our community.
Okay, that's great. So, would you say those qualities also separate you from your constituents, or what would you say would be the main thing that separates you?
Well, when I look at the constituents, constituents being those in the community that I really want to represent, as I have been out in the community, I've recognized that we share a lot of the same values. All of us are concerned about, education. We're concerned about our kids and our future. And so I'm proud to be able to have the opportunity to be able to represent the constituents of the 30th district.
All right. So, running for office, of course, people can only imagine it's a grueling process. Like, take us just briefly through, when you initially was like, okay, I'm going to run for office. Like, what are you doing to motivate yourself to get through the process? Because I know it's a tedious process.
It is a very involved process. But I feel pretty fortunate and blessed in the fact that I have a lot of very good supporters, donors, and volunteers that are supporting me. And ultimately, they motivate me every day. To see the volunteers come out and walk in the hot sun with me because they truly believe that I'm the best candidate for the 30th district is very empowering, very motivating. And I just had a community day of action on the 30th, and we had people of all ages, from the youth, teenagers, up to 70, 80-year-olds that were actually there helping me. And it really energized me like Energizer Buddy. The other thing that really motivates me too is, as I'm out meeting voters, to be able to listen to their stories, like the story of a senior couple who's owned their own business, worked all their lives, saved money, worked hard to save money, who are now being faced with bankruptcy because they can't afford their life-saving treatment. And so just being able to see that I have the knowledge to be able to make an impact in Jefferson City to positively impact people's lives is very motivating as well.
Yeah, and when I was looking up the information as far as who was running, I'm like, you have several people running against you. Like, what? So I'm like, do you have any hype music or something? Like, what do you?
Theme song.
I have a friend that's running for office. It's kind of like he really is in this strategic mode. So it's just kind of I was wondering, what do you do to kind of get yourself hyped?
Yeah.
Okay, so voters registration. Of course, there are people who are not registered to vote. Like, what are some things that you're going to do to get people out to vote? Because initially, we have to make sure they're registered. If they're not registered, they can't vote. So what are some things that you're going to work on to do that?
That's right. So again, I have a strong group of supporters. You mentioned I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and my sorority works tirelessly to register people to vote. And so we've had several voter registration drives. But also, I'm proud to say that me and my volunteers, as we are out knocking on doors, we carry the voter registration cards with us, and we help people to register right there on the spot. The other thing that we have is on my website, which is reinaformissouri.com. They are able to actually click the link and do the registration information right there online as well.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
great.
good.
Okay. What chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha are you in? Do you want to share?
Yes. So I actually am a chapter of Omega Nu Omega, which is actually in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
So there are a few committed members of us that actually travel to Springfield to represent the organization. But I've been a member of Beta Omega here in Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So what would you say are your closing words for someone who is possibly thinking about running for office?
You know what? I think it's very uplifting and empowering. And I would recommend that anyone who has a concern in their community, who has a frustration about what's going on in our country and our state, that they don't be afraid, it is a lot of work, but it's worth it. And there are so many people that are also frustrated that you will be surprised at how many people will join in and support the cause and support you running. And so I would just encourage anyone who is interested in partially thinking about running. First of all, you can get involved and join my race. You can support me and you can learn more about it. But also, I think just trying to be the voice for our community is something that our community needs. I wish more people would step up to do that. But it's, there are a lot of resources out there to actually help us. There's trainings and information that will help us be able to be an effective leader. And if I can, one other thing that I'd like to just encourage people to do is to not just register to vote, but to actually go out and vote. I was alarmed when I heard from the Kansas City Board of Election that in our April election that only 8% of the voters actually came out to vote.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about what were you guys going to do? What was your campaign going to do to get people out to vote? I know that was an issue also in the last presidential election as well. So, it's kind of, especially people who are younger.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to jump in with a question about that because obviously, like, we mentor a lot of young people. So as far as you trying to reach them, what are you and your campaign trying to do to kind of reach those 18-year-olds that are those new voters to try to get them excited? Because obviously we're in a really interesting pocket where the political climate commands that they have to pay attention. So how are you getting them to try to go and vote for you?
Well, I'm very fortunate in that I have kids who are in that age group. So they keep me grounded and give me suggestions on what I need to do. But ultimately, in that age group, social media is very key. And so we are reaching out to them in that means. But also we are working with different youth groups to try to, first of all, hear their voice and hear their concern. I think, if people know that they're being heard and that their vote really does matter, then I think they will come out and vote. So not just registering them, but actually really getting engaged and asking them to become involved as well, because then they're committed to that vote.
Okay, that's what's up. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do have a question. I know you mentioned earlier about the the situation in Florida with the kids, making a point, to make their voice heard. With that being said, what is your, let's be optimistic. You get right in, what is your first thing or issue that you want to tackle to be able to go after? What is your first goal that you want to accomplish?
So for me, because I have 25 years of healthcare experience as a healthcare executive, everyone having access to affordable, high quality healthcare is very important to me. Looking at the skyrocketing healthcare costs that we all have, that we have all been faced with, I've had enough of that, being able to really impact the prescription drug costs and help to lower those. But, one thing that we haven't talked about, people express the concern about Medicaid not being expanded in the state of Missouri. But what they really don't talk about is the fact that people actually died from the decision not to expand Medicaid.
Right.
And so I would like to be able to work with those in Jefferson City to try to expand Medicaid, because everybody should have access to affordable health care.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
I'm looking at the Facebook Live feed. You mainly they're just putting your hashtag Raina from Missouri. And then we have a comment, Mildred Walker. She is the wife of Mr. Walker. She said, "Hey, Serenity, I'm a follower." I'm like, "Oh, okay, hey." I just want to make sure I get the comments from Facebook Live, because I was just like, "Oh, there's a whole bunch on here." So you have quite a few people who are listening to you right now. So, any closing information, how people get in contact with you, or get in touch with you if they want to have any more information?
So they can find me on Facebook as well at Raina for Missouri. My website is rainaformissouri.com. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and it's some form of Raina for Missouri. But the simplest thing is if you go to rainaformissouri.com, RYANAFOR, Missouri is spelled out MISSOURI.com. They'll be able to find right. It's a lot.
Right.
Took my breath away with that one,
We're gonna
boy.
put that
If
on
you
the
live in
post.
Missouri and you
Right.
don't know how to spell it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got a whole
We got a
situation.
problem, right? We're gonna have to
Right.
put that on the pros and verbs page because it's a lot.
Definitely.
All right.
So,
thank you.
what are you going to stay for the rest of the hour for the segments?
Yes, I will.
and chime in on the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we're going to take our first musical break. We're going to play "Thinking of You" by Asa Barnes. If you guys know who Asa
Shout
Barnes
out to
is.
Asa.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Asa
Asa. I don't
is-
know you, but I know if Serenity give you props, you gotta be dope.
He is a phenomenal artist here from Kansas City, and he is just dope. His music. He has a project called "It's Complicated," which is out if you want to check it out on any of the music platforms. So,
Yeah.
and they've also put. Was it Thinking of You? They're playing on 103, right?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think
don't-
so.
I
He has
don't-
one of them that's playing on
I'm
103.
a first wave millennial. It's all
Okay.
about this shuffle play right
Right,
here.
right, right,
I
right.
don't really listen
Well,
to radio
Spotify.
like that.
Well,
It's all about, if it's not on Spotify, if it's not
First
on
wave
SoundCloud, I'm
music.
not sure.
well, make sure you support. We like to support indie artists here on this platform. So it's Thinking of You by Asa Barnes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because I was like, I didn't get to jump in, but I was like,
I did email you a
There was,
song.
there was this.
Serenity.
You heard about,
did
of
email
course,
you
that woman
something.
in New York.
Huh?
I did
She
email you
called me,
something.
right?
Yeah.
You
And I
did?
was just
Yeah.
like,
Oh, okay.
What is
this
it?
was kinda
When did you
at a
send
point
it?
now where
Like,
I've already
5
said
minutes
it, but
before I
was
got
like,
here.
Oh, well, no wonder.
Right, because I figured maybe like you had a
real because I feel like women
connection
of
to your
color
phone or
are
whatever. But I had just sent my singles.
Yeah, I do,
And
but
so
that's
I
the
hope
issue with the Wi-Fi in here because
Oh yeah.
the way I had the questions and then the email to her,
Yeah.
the attachment for her
Yeah.
bio wasn't coming up. So that's why I was like,
Oh, okay.
You know
So you had
what
to
I'm
get it from like a desktop.
Who literally was just like,
Oh, you have
yeah,
a
but I
tablet?
don't have no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
If I want
Right.
to be the change, I want to
Y'all talking about being prepared. I'm like,
And
I
so I was
was.
kind of like, a little bit. Your story's going to run parallel.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, how if there's something that you kind of pay attention to, looking around the country,
Yeah.
looking at these inspiring stories, how that affects you as far as keeping your morale up, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I could have said that.
Yeah,
It
no.
does,
I mean,
actually.
I
watched
wondered, I was
other
like,
races.
because I saw that, and I was just like, I had no idea who she was, and then when I saw the story, I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
because she was saying that like she just didn't even pay attention to, she didn't think it was possible.
Did he feel
Right.
like
She was going to
did he feel
be
like
able
that
to
part was
unseat him.
rushed?
So she didn't even go to
This
the
part?
results party
The
until
interview
like
part.
No,
the last
I think it was
minute,
cool.
and
Yeah.
she found out when everybody else found out.
Yeah.
About
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she, but she was
Yeah,
saying there
thing.
were kids that were.
Well, you
we
say
know
you're a
you.
counselor, right?
It's like, how old are
Well,
you?
I work at the
18.
Wyandotte
It's
Center.
like,
Yeah, I work at my case
So,
manager at the
that's- I
Wyandotte
just wondered
Center,
about
so
that.
I'm right up
Because
that
I
field.
just
We
think,
actually
like,
want to
where
get
we
your
are
card.
right now,
We
especially
actually had
with, like,
a along with
the
my
pocket of
artistry.
the new voters that are coming
Me and
into
some other
this
guys, we're
midterm
up in the
into
process
all
of a
these
startup
local
business called the
elections.
College
I
Takeover
wish
Tour.
people were more
And so what we do is
involved
we
in
go to
local
different schools and
elections
talk
because
about
a lot of the
social
stuff that
awareness
happens affects
things.
us day to day. It's on
And
the
we
local
we
level.
did
And, you know,
Kansas City,
but
Kansas Community
that's just
College,
me on
and
my
our
soapbox.
theme was suicide and mental health
'cause, I mean,
awareness. We just
yeah,
booked Kansas City,
it's like, I
Kansas
paid
again
attention to
September
civics
28th,
class.
and we're looking for people to have like booths set up,
Yeah,
like
it's-
vendors come through,
It-
pass
it's
out
a lot.
information.
Yeah.
Like we had the American awareness
Yeah,
of suicide
I
prevention
think
there
that right
last
now,
year.
I wish
We
I-
had
I'm trying
the
to get
side. I don't know if
kids
you ever
that
heard of
I'm
side.
mentored to look at
And then
their-
one of the
on the
and then
day-to-day,
we had
how
also the Kansas City, Kansas. They have a counseling and advocacy center that was a part of it. So we always try to get people involved, especially when it comes to the mental health field involved. So I'll definitely be sure. Yeah, most definitely.
People that you see every day are the people that you need to pay attention to, like
Right.
your DAs, your
Mhm.
everything. It's like
For sure.
yes, like
Yeah.
your police chiefs, your sheriffs, all of that.
Really?
You have to pay
It
attention to
matters.
those things.
It matters.
So it's like because when cousin gets locked up for something petty,
Yes.
who do you think did that?
Yeah.
What do you think happened?
Yeah.
Like policy wise to make that occur. You're like,
Cool,
Right,
cool,
like-
right,
Right, and they don't understand.
it's like
Cool.
think about those things.
right.
It's like
Right.
yeah,
The impact
Right,
policy,
right,
and that's what I like
We got about
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
yeah.
to change the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm all about because you know it's all about taboo
Can they
mental
still
health
see us
in
on
the black
the
community. So yeah, I'm down for that.
That's weird. I've been knowing Asa since I was 14, so I've been hearing this for like half of my life.
What?
Asa singing.
Oh.
Like I said, I knew Asa when we went to high school together.
Oh.
And so it's like he's been like uber
been-
talented.
he's
I'm
been-
like,
he's
this ain't.
been-
I was like,
Right.
He's been cat daddy for a long time.
well, it's weird because like his what was it?
And we're back. That was Thinking of You by Asa Barnes. As I said, make sure you check out his music, and he's a phenomenal singer here from Kansas City. I also need to mention our first sponsor or / endorser. We have Hughes for Senate. Make sure you search that on your social media. He is a political officer running for office in the Blue Springs / Lee Summit area. So, and we're going to go into our next segment, which is sports. I guess we're going to have a tag team on the sports. This time we got Angela Rube doing sports with the feminine energy, and B Wise going to be doing some sports. And why don't you just break down what you got for us, B Wise?
Oh my God, I've been, ever since you hit me up, Serenity, I've been like waiting to talk about this topic, especially in Kansas City, since we're like the closest thing to Cleveland instead of LA. Of course, we're going to talk about the LeBron James dilemma. Now, last time we came to this, he said it. It is the dilemma. Well, this is why. It's because last time LeBron was given this decision, he sat in a chair for like 3 hours just to say, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Okay. Yeah. But with the, everybody figured with them getting swept 4-0 that, and with the team that LeBron had, he got to make a move, some type of move. Now, me personally,
it's time to make a move, huh?
Me personally, and me and a good friend of mine always talk about this. I think he should have went to the Spurs. He has a great relationship with Greg Popovich. They have a system that they run that is known for the sense they run. But this is what I do kind of see him going to LA, Hollywood City, is that number one, he has to get through the probably best basketball conference other than the East, of course, the West, that he'll get through all the teams that he would need to beat in the finals, which would up in his legacy.
Yes, I don't agree.
Okay. Let's debate on it.
All right, let's argue. Basketball wise, in terms of his love and affection for Greg Popovich, who is the Spurs head coach, if you follow basketball at all, you know how much he respects him. However, I don't know how much longer Greg Popovich coaches based on personal things that happened. Obviously, the passing of his wife during midseason. I don't know. And of course, the dilemma with his current begrudged star, Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
And the fact that you don't have Tony Parker anymore. You don't have Manu Ginobili anymore. You pretty much are in the same boat as the Lakers. Maybe the Lakers are actually a better situation for him in terms of winning right now because LeBron is 34.
Okay.
He is going to be 34 in December. He is not a old 34, but Father Time is completely and utterly undefeated. Okay. So I think that he not only made a legacy move, he also made, I think, a mogul move. We all remember that he's actually got his eyes on Hollywood. He has his own production company.
I agree.
He's doing
know that.
Buyer's Remorse.
Yes.
The show Buyer's Remorse was produced by
and
LeBron
also
James.
it's another one called it's a game show he has.
Oh yeah,
produced too.
It's called what is it?
I did forget that. I
not The Wall. Is it The Wall?
It's The Wall.
Yeah, it's The Wall. So he produces The Wall. And so he has his eyes set on Hollywood and things of that nature.
Yes.
And so he's thinking about a bigger picture move.
That makes sense then.
And also it's such a Laker thing to do, to go pull like they've done this since Will Chamberlain. They've done this for years. So it's not a big shock to me that one of the hottest players, the only person they couldn't pull was Jordan because they had Magic.
Right.
It's pretty much the only person they couldn't pull.
I totally agree on the mogul move. This is why I think I disagree with you, is that I think LeBron's carries so much weight as a player that people will go play with him. Now think about it. For the past several years, he's carried J.R. Smith. He's carried, which I'm not saying.
No, keep it real. That's a factual statement.
So he's carried older players with him that I think when he goes to other teams, people will gravitate to him because of his status as an NBA player. Now, and if you follow it, and I'm pretty sure you do, that Kawhi Leonard is actually in the talks for them going to the Lakers.
He doesn't want to go to the Lakers anymore.
The thing is that there's only a selective few that ever reaches LeBron's pinnacle. When you talk about putting him with the GOAT and the GOAT spectrum, and then you get that opportunity not only maybe possibly to win a championship, but just to be around somebody that has that type of aura. I think you not only elevate your play, but it elevates you as a person.
I get you, but I think that a lot like Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard wants to be the man.
I totally agree with you.
And no one wants to play with the man. They want to be the man.
I totally agree
So
with
that's
you.
why he does not want to go to the Lakers. He's like, I want my own show. I do not want to be the sidekick.
Now, let me ask you this, Angela. What is your top, what is your top three with LeBron? Your other two? Let me ask you that.
Wait,
Players. What
currently?
No, I mean, what would your what two other players you think would fit LeBron to go to take him to a championship?
Oh Lord. So we have to go ahead and say LeBron's ego. Can he put it off to the side for a moment?
Okay.
No, because I mean, I'm gonna say it like this. I do think that LeBron's issue sometimes is that I think that there's a lack of, and granted, with Cleveland's team last year, he had every reason not to trust that team.
Right. Even this year.
Yeah, this year he had no reason to trust that team. But I do think he does have passive aggressive ways about him that I'm like, okay, bro. But currently, I think that he needs people that have high basketball IQ. I really have zero issue with the Rajon Rondo acquisition, because I think he's smart.
Right.
I do think he needs someone that's going to be able to. I am interested to see what he would be like with Lonzo Ball. I wonder what that would be like, because I don't think that he hasn't really had a legit point guard. He really hasn't.
I mean, only other person I can think of is Mo Williams.
Maybe
Boobie Miles.
That's the first person I thought was like, yeah, really
Williams.
hasn't had anybody really and Mo Williams ain't,
he's not a
upper echelon at all.
Yeah.
No.
He's
So it's like, I think that he probably would be better suited with people that are selfless,
right?
That are not going to want to ball hog, not want to jack up threes like one JR.
He can't dribble. I love JR, but can't dribble.
Right. And I also think that LeBron's thing is that he needs people that want to play defense.
Yes.
That's why I was a little annoyed that
about the trade.
Well, I was annoyed by Boogie Cousins going to the Warriors.
Okay.
Now that you brought that up,
okay.
let's go into that, because I was like, LeBron going to the Lakers doesn't shock me.
Okay.
The Warriors keep getting richer, and I'm a Warriors fan, but I'm like, this is getting ridiculous.
Right.
It's getting way ridiculous. I'm like, because okay, so what happens to Draymond Green?
Right.
That's my question. Do you think he goes to the Lakers and
this is what I think? To go back to the initial, how much time do we at?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Because I can talk all day.
We can go about this. We can
go about this. So in a short 3 minute span, Skip. We're
wait. Time out. I am much better looking than Skip. I am not pale like Skip.
We got 3 minutes.
I'm not stretched like Skip. You are not going to disrespect me on this show.
So my first three, my two compliments of LeBron James, what I would say is I've always wanted to see him play with a legitimate big man, a rim protector, which I always thought he would have been great with Dwight Howard. The simple fact of number one is Dwight Howard he was a guy who can not only get you 20 and 10, but he also is a rim protector. That's something LeBron James has never had. If you think about all the teams from Miami to Cleveland, and I don't know if he's going to get one in LA, but he's never had a rim protector to allow him to use his perimeter athleticism. Also, too, you might think I'm crazy, but I've always wanted to see him play with Carmelo Anthony. This is why.
That would be interesting.
This is why you have LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and you have Dwight Howard. Now, LeBron James' skill set is, what you talked about, passive aggressive to the point to where on the team like that, he becomes the point guard. Because now
that is true.
You have a legitimate.
Carmelo's literally like, I'm Mr. ISO. I want the ball in my hand.
That allows, and then to complement him, he would have a bench, so on and so forth, to actually make the team complete. But this allowed him. How many times have we seen in the finals for the past few years when LeBron has scored? I mean, he was damn near scoring almost 50 points a game, and they was winning by like 10.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if
talk
you
about putting the team, put the team on his back, and they literally
I mean,
by
to
5.
me, if you're a Cleveland fan, I think LeBron has given you everything. To this
You
point,
said everything. You
I
gave
mean,
it
think
all.
about it.
I'll make a local
Everything.
I'll give you a local connection. So for those of us who, I mean, not to bring baseball into it, because I mean, who likes baseball? You know, I'm just kidding. No, I like baseball, but no, I'm serious. Like, okay, so for those of us in the room, most of us, like, the Royals had not won a World Series since 1985.
Right.
We got that team, and we knew that team was not going to stay together.
We should have known that. Yeah.
Well, the
I
business,
saw it
the
coming.
business of baseball, the politics of baseball, the money that is allowed in baseball, that team was not going to stay together. They were too good and they were
Right.
too young
Right.
to keep
Right.
all those people paid. So we got one championship out of it. All you can say is thank you.
Thank you.
Like, that's really,
Especially in baseball,
you can't be
yeah.
mad about that. So if players want to get paid and get their
Right.
bag, then
Because it's
Just-
super rare
that's
for a
it.
team to go back to back to the World Series.
Yes. It
super
is.
rare.
It is
right.
very
So
rare.
Cleveland, don't be mad. I don't
Right.
want to see anybody burn any jerseys or anything like that. You just better for the memories. Thank you for the
Right.
ship. And you know, you're always welcome back here, homie. You're
Yeah.
welcome to the cookout.
West is going to be something to watch, though. West
Yes.
definitely going to be something to be
Yes,
excited.
it's going to be
this basketball
interesting.
season.
Yeah.
I might start back watching basketball
Yes.
regularly.
Yes.
I watch it sometimes, but
Sometimes,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, not
I
as
watch when
much.
they choose to play, which is only the playoffs.
I agree.
That's true.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's true.
Well, Miss Parks, you sports fan?
Yes.
I seen her.
Who do
I
you-
seen her
who do you
inching.
root
I seen her
for?
inching to jump
Who-
in, but she was like, "I'm gonna let them talk. I'm gonna let them talk."
brought it up.
So what about Anthony Davis?
Ooh.
Anthony Davis, you know what?
Ah.
I am a big fan of Anthony Davis. He is a very, very. I think a lot of times when players go into the league, their talent gets undershadowed by the market that they're in.
Yeah, he's in New Orleans, so it's not a lot of shine.
Right.
And I'm trying to think of a player that
Zach
that-
Randolph would be a perfect example.
Yes, so like Mike Conley. So
Yeah,
like
right.
Mike Conley, like if nobody knew, I don't unless you really kept up with sports, he was the highest paid point guard ever in the NBA. Like
But he
was-
played for Memphis.
But he played for Memphis. And when you come from a market like that, the only real, I would say, big small market is like San Antonio. When you have a track record of a David Robinson, Tim Duncan, you know, the era of Spurs. But when you play in a small market, and I think that's the case with
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, which I thought, you know, and I'm originally from Louisiana. When they brought in DeMarcus Cousins and they brought in Rondo, I thought they was, you know, they swept the Blazers in the first round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it made some noise. So I'm a big fan ever
I-
since he was from Kentucky.
I'm a
So,
very
yeah.
big fan of Anthony
Okay,
Davis as
good.
well. So but I just think that unfortunately, because of the business of sports, I don't know if they're gonna be able to build a team around him. He may have to walk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you know, nowadays the game has become so versatile that now you're really becoming back in the old school, back in the day, I want to say old school, but back in the day, it was a big man's game. Okay. You had, you know, back to the basket players, which means that you had guys like Will Chamberlain, guys like Shaquille O'Neal, but now you got what I call stretch fours, who are guys that can face up, can shoot beyond 15, 20 feet. Like guys like Anthony Davis, who can, you know, take guys on a perimeter, but are classified as forwards. So now it really has become a guards game. You know, and so, you know, shout out to Anthony Davis, though, man. Like I love his game since he was from Kentucky. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to our second musical break. We're gonna play some Royal Chief. Royal Chief was on Angela Rue's show.
Shout out
Live
to
was
Royal
last month.
Chief.
Yeah.
Royal Chief.
Check out that video, No Days Off. Check it out. It's a great
Yeah.
video. I wish I was in it.
You were supposed to be, right?
Inside joke.
Right.
inside joke. So what you think about the Chiefs, though?
I'm not watching.
The Chiefs?
I'm not watching football this
Oh,
year.
football.
Not for the reasons that you think either.
By the Royal Chief. We are back.
Yeah.
And we just finished our sports segment. And we are going to jump into our self-care tips by Christina Brown.
Yeah.
So let me just say thank you for having me. I know this is kind of a new thing to introduce this kind of mental health moment on on this platform. And I just think this is so dope. One of my passions and missions in life as a mental health professional of color is to really raise awareness in the Black community about mental health and mental health issues, and to just make it more accessible and feel, I hate to use the word normal, but to really just feel like it's something that we all can relate to. And so today I just kind of wanted to introduce myself and let you all know I'm going to be here with the ladies every week and with Mr. Wise. I'm going to be around. They're not going to be able to get rid of me.
Another fun fact. We're birthday twins. That's what some people don't know. Me and Christina, same year, same day.
That's my twin.
What time were you born though?
Oh man, you're going to take it down to the time.
It was like 1 something in the morning.
I'm 7:29 a.m.
Oh. How did you know the exact time?
I know, right? Exact time.
That's okay.
So super technical.
That's okay. That's fine.
But that's dope. I mean, we were both born that morning.
Right.
You know, like... Yeah, that's my twin right there. Like, we've always been connected. I just love that we've always
and we're in the
connected.
same organization too. That's
weird.
Sorors. Right.
So thank you for having me to be able to talk about these things that are super, super close to my heart. I do want to just start with like introduction to mental health, like things that I'm going to talk about when I'm in here with y'all. You know, to define what mental health really is. Because it's like buzzwords right now. Everybody's kind of talking about self-care and mental health, wellness, and things like that. But really, mental health is essentially our emotional, physiological, social well-being. So the collective well-being of ourselves. And our mental health is connected to so many things. So there's a lot of focus on physical health. A lot of money gets pumped into our physical health, but our emotional and mental health is really just as important as it's connected to our physical health. And many times physical, issues that we might have, whether it's like heart disease or other illnesses, they may manifest or really have roots in mental health issues. And if we carry so many things around with us for years that really come from our experiences and how we cope with them or don't cope with them, they can just manifest in our bodies and turn into physical health issues. But our mental health is really connected to our belief system, the way we believe about, the world and our lives, and then also connected to our thought system, because what we believe totally impacts what we think and then how we feel and ultimately how we act in the world. So I hope to be here every week, kind of promoting mental health, wellness. And
we definitely need that now.
Yes, making sense of why we do the stuff we do, where it comes from. Some of the other things I hope to promote are ways for us to, as a people, identify what we really need in our lives. Like, because I don't think that we are taught that anywhere. Like it's. What do you think?
Coping skills?
Yeah. Well, and just identifying what we need. Like, we get up in the morning and a lot of times we think about, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do this, this, and this. We have our little to-do list. But many times we don't stop and actually connect with ourselves and say, well, what do I need to feel good and be in the right frame of mind and feel loved and accepted and all of that to have, just go into the world with my full potential and accomplish all the stuff on my to-do list. So, identifying what we really need is hard to do. Like I was never taught that, growing up, and I wasn't taught that in school.
It wasn't even validated. It wasn't even something that was even concerned. Like, it was more or less like, following a rubric of check off this, do this. And it's like you're being told, you weren't asked about.
It's a routine. It was just a regular routine. You wake up in the morning, you eat breakfast if you have breakfast, and you just go to school, go to work, come home, and just follow the same routine. And what's funny is, and this is kind of like a clinical statement, but they define insanity as doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result.
Like expecting a different result.
Expecting a different result. Yeah. So I totally. So
some of the times when I'm here, I hope to be talking about ways that we can be better about connecting with ourselves, identifying what we really need, because many times we get into connections or relationships with other people trying to get our needs met. And it's really unrealistic because, you know, we're looking to somebody else to help us feel good or get our needs met when really we can do it ourselves, but we don't really have our finger on what it is we really need. So I hope to talk a little bit more about that on a regular basis. Also coping, you know, you mentioned coping. So, you know, and there's a difference. I was talking to a colleague this week about the difference between coping and actual healing. You know,
that's fair.
So you know, there's this way of coping just with what comes at you and being able to deal in a healthy way or not healthy way. So we'll talk a lot about coping, but then there will be times that I get into actual healing, which is deeper and it's harder and it's uglier. But you know, sometimes we get to the place where we can actually tackle that. But most often we're coping. You know, so we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like, how to do it well, how to identify when you're not doing it well. I think the other thing I want to try to promote and we'll talk a lot about together is making meaningful connection with people. Just recognizing.
I think our generation, the X and the millenniums, we need that.
We live in a world of a lot of fake affiliations, a lot of fake friends. And so I think that people assume that friendship is directly connected to clicking on a button that says I friend you. So we're friends.
Like
and I can air out my business to you. And then and you wonder why is my business on the street? Because you did not they did not earn any marbles in that trust jar. I'm sorry.
They're really not your friends.
They're really not your friends. They're people that you know.
And the difference between instant connection and meaningful connection. So hopefully we'll talk quite a bit about that and how we can be intentional about our contributions to the communities that we're in. And then that's great. So you know, this should be pretty fun, I think.
Yes.
It should be good.
Just so we make sure. All right. So Casey, I know how y'all gonna be, right? All right. This is
you're talking to the people?
Family. I'm talking to y'all. I'm talking to y'all, family.
Okay.
Cousins, aunties, play cousins, aunties, all y'all. Right?
She got a
Christina is a licensed therapist.
Right.
Meaning that if you are looking for licensed therapy, there is a fee.
Right. Yeah.
Understand. This is not free.
It's not free.
This is not. Dear Abby. We are here to discuss topical stuff.
Right.
We are not here to discuss how Uncle so and so fooling around with so and so that ain't auntie so and so, and therefore there's a so and so down the block, and I don't know how to feel about that. We ain't here to discuss that.
Angela, that's a good point. So let's talk about.
So we talk about topical things that maybe apply to you, maybe don't apply to you.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me not discourage people from connecting to the stuff. You know what I mean?
We'll put you on resources for sure. Yeah. So we don't want to discourage therapy, but just understand that. Look, if you need to work that out with a therapist on a day-to-day.
And that's going to take more than 5 or 10 minutes from her answer.
Right. Amen. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. So let me say a word. Let me speak a word about that. You know, I am here and I hope to be a friendly face to the idea of mental health, wellness, and therapy and introduction to that whole thing. I hope that many people hear my voice and see my face and feel like, oh man, okay, she seems normal and cool. I can access something like that. I can do that. But they're absolutely right. What I would discourage is you or anyone being super vulnerable in such a public space or putting their information, whether we're on Facebook Live or sending comments or questions or whatever, and you not being as protected as you might need to be with such vulnerable information. You are important and your experiences are important and need to be protected. So I would discourage you from putting them out there in such a way that you really leave yourself open and not getting the delicate care and attention that you would need from this very limited interaction with me on the radio. That was, that's my loving way. That was my loving way.
That was a nugget.
Please don't put your business. Please don't put your business out there. But if you need to contact me, one of the things we talked about, right, Serenity, is that people can send me questions,
and we will vet those questions.
Yeah, or
those questions will be deeply vetted.
Or topics that you would like to hear about or learn more about. prosandverbs@gmail.com email address. So if you feel inclined to send me a message, let me know things that you would like for me to explain or talk about. Or if you do have some general mental health questions, I'd be really happy to answer those and help out. Or if you need some resources, I'm happy to send those your way too. So I'm happy to be here. Y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm gonna piggyback off her, guys.
Okay.
Especially in the Black community, we was talking about this at break that in the Black community, mental health is taboo. So if you know somebody that has mental issues, or maybe just don't know where to turn, like there's a resource here, and as my colleague Miss Angela stated, like we're going to give you some nuggets, but you still have to put in the work to be able to make steps. But here is the resource, especially in the Black community, which I feel is like very, very much needed.
Definitely.
I think the world needs it, not just the Black community.
Yeah,
definitely we do.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go around the room and just kind of like, if people wanted to get in contact with people individually, if you guys want to give your information out, we're going to do that. And then I have like a little something about the date, and we're just going to end the show. Angela, you want to start off?
All right. So you can find me at your local Facebook, Ms. with a Z, Angela, Angela, normal colonizer spelling, Roux. You can find me on Facebook on my artist page, or you can find me on Instagram. Just put in underscores between the Ms, the Angela, and the Roux. And I'm out here. That's pretty much the basis where I'm usually functioning. I don't really tweet, and I snap occasionally. So yeah, probably the best place to find me is on Facebook or on good old IG.
All right. Ms. Shaw.
All right, and you can find me at my website, rainaformissouri.com, and I'm on Instagram.
Well, say you on Snapchat, girl? The millennials will vote for that. Yes.
I told you,
Raina on the Snap. Okay.
So I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Raina for Missouri. That's where you'll find me.
All right.
Your man B Wise here, also spelled with a Z, BWIZE, coming out with my debut project called Offspring of a Fiasco. Hopefully it'll be one of the singles that I played will be played on this show and have been played on KUAW. But yeah, you can get in touch with me, www.ubewize.com. There's www.ubewize.com. You can find all my social media platforms on there.
Okay.
Last
And
but not least,
finally,
Whoop, whoop.
Christina.
If you want to just give out the pros and person,
Yeah, I think that's the best way to reach me.
Don't be emailing me.
No.
Man.
Because people go like, girl, I need a therapist.
No,
Like,
Therapists need therapists
minute.
every now and then, but Lord, don't
Guys.
stress our person out after
don't
week one
bombard
now.
her. Don't
Week one.
chill.
Don't do it after week one. We want her to come back.
And
Right.
can I say how much I love that y'all are protecting me? I
Yeah.
love
Yes.
I
y'all.
heard
We
you
need
know.
Listen,
Because
everybody
you come for my
needs-
Christina, I'm coming
Bro,
for
we
you.
go.
Everybody needs a
That's a fact.
tribe like this. I
Right.
love my
I'm like,
tribe.
right.
They
I'll be
are
like,
protecting
ma'am,
me.
Wakanda
sir.
forever.
They are protecting
You're out of pocket.
We got your back. We got your back.
We got your back.
So I appreciate that. And I definitely the prosandverbs@gmail.com email address is great.
That'd be great.
Even if you send me stuff that I'm like, I can't, I'll reply and say, hey, that's a lot.
She'll reply with "nya." How that spell?
I
Nya.
promise.
I can't.
I'm a nice person. I'm not gonna come for your neck or anything like that. So, send whatever you got and we'll see what we can do with it. I'll say that. And I also want to say that I am so excited that all this love, this Black love is in here right now.
Right. Vibranium on Flex.
Guys, I'm very
Wakanda
mushy.
forever.
I'm having a mushy
Yeah.
moment. I love this.
Shea butter in the room.
This
too.
is so
Yes.
wonderful to me.
Yes, we do's what we do's.
All right, and it's your girl Serenity. You can find me on IG and on Facebook as well. If you search Serenity Speaks, and I should come up on IG. It's Serenity, and then 2 underscores in the word speak. All right. With closing today, our first show. Today's date is July 7th, 2018. If anybody's aware of numerology and numbers and something kind of one of those weird things I like to keep up with and have weird knowledge of. The number 7, as some of you know, is significant. It is also significant not just in the Bible, but spiritually. It is a number of completion. And it is used, of course, we talk about it is it's stamped on every work of God, it says, and the observation of the number is important in nature as well. Physics, chemistry, and music all have association with the number 7. The 7 basic notes of music, the octaves, the premise, which would be in science, which has 7 parts of the colors, is also with the number 7. So, and then also the number 9, biblically, it is the number 9 is for finality in judgment. It's generally used the time of judging of a person and their works, and it also is defined as the perfect movement of God. And number 9 is also the number of patience. And coincidentally, number 9 is my life number. So
my life number is 4. I just found that out.
How do we find out our life number?
I can tell you about that
if
later.
you Google numerology,
I'll let you
yeah.
get it. Yeah, we'll put you on there.
We'll put
I
you
felt
on there.
left out. Real quick right there.
I'm behind you in line.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Well,
The people with the life path number 9, it also signifies wisdom and intuition. It is the number before the next harmony, which is 10. And then people who are life path number 9 care a lot about their spiritual comfort and the comfort of their soul. So today, like I said, today's date 7718, which is 9. I thought that was significant when I was like looking at the date of when we would start our first show. So that's what's up. And I want to thank anybody who was tuning in, watching the Facebook Live, or listening to the sound. Of course, make sure you follow the platform. That's Prose and Verbs, PROSE and Verbs. You should know what Verbs is. Yeah. And you can email us at Gmail with that same address. We're on Instagram and Facebook also. I hope to bring you guys content that is enriching to the community and the world. And our conversations, we just hope that I ultimately want to help people through this platform also. That's why I reached out to Christina for the self-care tips. And then, of course, sports is something that is important to everybody.
Not everybody.
Even though I don't.
Not everybody.
Yes,
but,
it is.
I mean, some folks.
In
But
some
I just don't want to.
aspects.
I just don't want to blanket it like that. You know.
Right. Well, a lot of people
know.
keep up with sports, even if they don't keep up with
Oh,
sports.
Now that we got
Yeah.
legalized gambling, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more people interested in sports that they never were interested in.
And we just, right now we had a dead period because nothing is going on.
Nothing.
Football,
Football
right.
is coming
Football's
up. So
dead
when we
right
start
now.
getting into the Chiefs and
Well,
they getting their butts kicked,
okay. For the late, hey,
Hopefully not.
I forgot to mention this. It's sports.
Hopefully not.
So for the ladies, watch the World Cup. You're welcome.
Oh, yes.
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 You're
There's
welcome.
some soccer
Already
babes.
been on
Soccer
there,
babes
yeah.
abound. You got a few more games to watch. France
Already
is
on
in
it.
there. Bonjour.
All right. Make sure you check us out next Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. We're out.